What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PlaybookGamer.com, and today we're going to look at the Ohio State multiple playbook in college football 25. This is Ryan Day's offense. He's been the head coach there for several years now. He was the OC before that. So anybody who's watched Ohio State the last 5-6 years kind of know what he likes to do. It's a nice mix of various things. Yes, it looks spread for the most part, but he likes to throw in some other oddball formations. Got a nice collection of concepts. This is just a nice mix of things I think you're going to enjoy, and that's why they call it a multiple playbook. Now, we're going to go over the formations and concepts and play types and personnel, and hopefully by the end of the video, you have a good idea of what this playbook and scheme is all about. So let's start off with formations. You notice that we got gun, we got some pistol, we got some single back, we got some split T. So we have a lot of things just beyond the gun. Now, the majority of the playbook are gun sets. So we're going to start there first. And just out of the gate, we always like to look, see where the tight ends are at and where the halfback is at. That way we can kind of see their placement in these formations. So starting off with wing slot week, this is a 12 personnel set, 1 halfback, 2 tight ends, 88 and 42. There's 18 plays there. Then you got doubles halfback week. Now we're getting to the 11 personnel. Then you get into doubles flex, another 2x2 look. Then you get the wing trips week. Then you get into trio halfback week. And then you get into some interesting stuff. So this is the tackle over formation group. Now, there are about 3 of them in this playbook. You got tackle over cluster, tackle over, and then tackle over trips. From what I know, according to the formation list I've been putting together and a couple other websites, I'm pretty sure this is the only playbook that has any of this tackle over stuff. So tackle over pretty much means you're putting your left tackle, for example, you look at trio halfback week. Our left tackle is number 69, but in a tackle over, you put him over at tight end right beside the other tackle. So you got a duo tackle look on one side, and on the left side, you replace that left tackle with usually a tight end or somebody else. So in this case, we got number 2, who is a wide receiver, and then you go over to like tackle over, it's got the tight end at left tackle with the left tackle over at tight end. So in general, the left tackle and the tight end kind of switch places for tackle over trips, except for this one. This one's even more unique. Just an oddball stuff right here, but you use this stuff so you can do some heavy running to the strong side. As you would imagine, your best run blockers are all on one side. So that's pretty cool. And again, this is the only playbook that I know of that has these tackle over formations. And you got a good collection of stuff here. 6 plays, you got 15 and then 15 in the other one. So 36 plays, not bad. And then we get back to our normal stuff. Spread Y slot week. This is another 11 personnel look. Then you got spread Y flex. Then you got spread flex. That's still 11 personnel. Remember, 88 is our tight end. Then we got box H-back strong, or halfback strong. Now, box is another formation that I can only find in this one and in the UCF playbook. I guess they call it box because of the 2 slot receivers. Well, technically, that's a tight end, 88. They're kind of adjacent to each other. In this game, they call it box. And this one, it's H or halfback strong. Then we got box offset weak. You just got the halfback over on the other side of the quarterbacks. Again, these is rare. It's just in this playbook and in the UCF playbook. Then we go back to some more normal stuff. You got trio Y flex. I love these type of formations where you can isolate a tight end on one side, as you see over there. That looks very Kansas City Chiefs-ish type stuff right there. Then you get into 5 wide receiver trio. There's about 18 plays there. So that is it for all the shotgun. A lot of 2x2 looks. There's a 2x2. This is a trips. That is technically trips and 2x2. Well, these tackle over. You can call these kind of whatever. But then you got 2x2, 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 trips, and another trips, and then another trip. So you got a nice little mix between 2x2 and then your 3x1. But that's not the entire playbook. We do have one pistol formation, and it is pistol spread. This is a 10 personnel look. You have those are your 4 wide receivers. Then you have single back. You got 2 formations here. You got wing off close. This is a 12 personnel set. It's just a nice little cluster on the right side there. And then you got bunch tight end as your other formation in single back. So these are good and we're going to look at this more towards the end of the video, but this is good if you want to do basic downhill running. So if anybody's watched Ohio State knows that Day likes to sprinkle some of this stuff in along with his shotgun stuff. And they only got one split T formation, and that is one of them. I think that's the only split T formation in the entire game, from what I can tell. And it's tight, and there's 9 plays in it. So that is the playbook. Mostly gun, 1 pistol, a couple single backs, and 1 split T formation. Let's go over to personnel. We've already kind of talked about some of these, but we'll start at the very top. So a 32 personnel, that is your split T, and of course your QB kneel. Then you got your 23 personnel. For most playbooks, it's usually just goal line normal. Then you go into 21 personnel. You don't have any here. All you have is clock management. You got a couple of 12 personnel sets. Wing slot weak, and then wing X off close. And then you get into the bulk of pretty much, it's with every playbook in this game, a lot of 11 personnel, a ton of it. That's, again, the bulk of it. And you only have 1 4-wide set or 10 personnel, and that is pistol spread. So at least now you know what the personnel looks like. All right, let's talk about some concepts. Now, this is where it gets really fun and what kind of makes up what Ryan Day likes to do. So let's start off with the run concepts. You only have 2 counters. You got 2 draws, and you got a bunch of inside zones. We've seen this already in a bunch of my videos. This is pretty normal. In most playbooks, you're going to have a lot of inside zone of some sort. But you notice we have a nice variety. You got your most basic stuff with inside zone. You got an inside zone split from gun wing trips weak. And then you can throw in some of your jet sweep stuff like this right here. This is fake jet sweep. Then you got a few other things, some under center stuff, but it's still the same thing. You're still going in between the tackles and nobody's really pulling for you in terms of the offensive line. Then you got ISO. There's only 1 of those. Outside zone, there are 7 of these. This seems actually like a lot from one of the playbooks I've seen so far. It's still not a lot, but it's more than what I've seen in other ones. So you may want to sprinkle this in as well. I suggest you do. There's enough there to fool with. But power is going to be your number 2 go-to basic run concept. Just a pulling guard of some sort, maybe a tackle. Then you got plays like jet halfback duo where technically nobody pull. Well, I guess they're treating that jet sweep as a puller. But either way, if you need a pulling lineman for you in your run game, definitely use this. There's 12 of them in this playbook. Sweep, there are 6 sweeps. I actually really like sweeps in this game. Like, I love bug sweep. This is old school stuff. Let's just go ahead and fool around with something right here. So basic bug sweep, you usually got pulling guards going around there, and you just kind of wait on your tackles and just pick up the yards any which way you can. Really like that stuff right there. There's also options off of that. We're going to look at that here in a minute. But let's go over to your traps. There's only 3 of these. I do like trap, though. I love pulling linemen in general. I'm a big gap scheme guy, and there's at least 3 of them in this one. You only got 1 reverse. It's a DIY toss reverse, and that is at a split T, so kind of keep that in mind if you want to throw that in there at some point. And it says there's only 1 jet sweep, but there's actually more than that. Again, I don't know how they decide how to play some of these concepts, but technically there's only 1 jet sweep. I call the jet sweep touch passes. It's jet sweeps, but I know they're technically pass plays. All right, let's look at some options. So we got inverted fear. There's only 3 of those. You got 4 load options, but as you can tell, they're all speed options, basically. Then you got midline. Actually, a little bit more midline in here than I expected, but there's only 3. Midline, you're pretty much reading, I think, is what the defensive tackle in that situation. I'm terrible at these plays, by the way, so I'm not going to pretend I know what I'm doing with those. They're just really hard to read. Speaking of read option, 25 of these. So if you are a read option guy, you will love this playbook. There's so many of them, and there's different kinds. Look, there's buck sweep read option. On one side, you got wide zone read, wide lead read option, another buck sweep. So those buck sweeps I told you about earlier, there's a lot more of it in here than you think. Then there's cake read option, counter read. Then you got trap read option. So if you like a little razzle dazzle in your read option game, I think you'll really like this playbook. It's not your typical basic read option. So you got a G trap, that's your guard trap read option. Then you got your tackle trap. Just a lot of really cool things. I like it. If I could be good at the read option, again, they changed it up a little bit, and I'm not the best at it, but I love the variety that we have with the read options. 25 of them. I suggest you use them. There's too much of it in here not to. Speed option, we've already looked at these. There's 4 of those. RPO reads, there are 9. Pretty typical in most of these spread, or I know this is multiple, but this is still pretty much a spread playbook. Then you got 4 RPO peaks. I'm not the biggest peak guy in the world. I like the alerts more. And speaking of, there are 22 RPO alerts. And it's a wide variety. You got some bubbles. You got some pre-snap motion you can throw in there. You also got some buck sweep action. Look, RPO alert buck. Awesome looking play. I love that little thing. Again, any pulling concept, I'm all for it. They work really well on this one. Then you got other things as well, but there's so much of it in here. 22 of them. So just kind of sum up your options. 22 RPO alerts. And that's going to be, the rest of it's going to be in your read option. So a read option and RPO alert, I'd go back and forth between the two. Then you got your quick passes. There's not much in here. When it comes to quicks, Ohio, there are 5, which I guess it makes sense for Ohio State to have some Ohio in their playbook. Ohio is basically a go-out combo, like you see on the right side, gun, box, offset, weak, halfback, angle. But then you got other plays where there's no Ohio in it whatsoever. So like motion, fake, screen, wheel on the left. I don't know why they put that in Ohio. Somebody can explain it to me why they've done that. I don't understand it. But either way, then you got 2 slants, which is actually very low compared to some other playbooks we've looked at. Only 1 spacing and only 3 stick. So when it comes to your quick passing game, you don't have a whole lot to work with. There's just nothing here. So you may want to use your RPOs as your quick game if you can kind of muster that and put that together somehow. So there's not a whole lot there when it comes to the quicks. It's not an air raid playbook. However, there is some air raid concepts in here. Let's go to medium pass. Let's start off with choice. There are 5 of these. Pretty much any play that's got an option route of some sort to kind of stick it here. 8 curls. You look anything that's a comeback, a curl, a hitch, they're going to put this pretty much here. And most of these are your curl flats. The bulk of them is pretty much curl flat, and it's a great combo and concept in this game. Works pretty well. Then you got drive, 3 of those. You got 1 levels. You have 12 mesh. This is the bulk of your medium pass game. It's going to be right here. 12 of them. This is like I guess he done a little bit of air raid at one point or another, and this was his favorite air raid concept, and it's always stuck with him. Ohio State loves running mesh, and thankfully it's in this playbook, so it replicates what they do in real life pretty well, I feel like. But there's enough here that you need to use it, and I think mesh works pretty well in this game. So we can go ahead and pick one. I can try to make this look halfway decent. We'll see. Let's go nickel. We'll just do something random. So you got your basic mesh. Come over here. Get a little play there. Can I get a broken tackle? Not a bad play, but you pretty much got backside reads on your outside. So I guess if both safeties came down, I'd probably look at the post. Otherwise, I'm just going to stare at the mesh and just give it to whoever I can give it to, but nobody's really open from what I can tell. I may just throw that one away. Try not to look too embarrassing. But either way, there's a lot of mesh in here, and I suggest you use it. Okay. Then you go over to pivot. There are 6 of these. And some of these, okay, so Z spot, you see that left slot receiver, that's a pivot route. I guess that's spot and go. They treat that Z receiver as a pivot route. Just pretty much any 2-step look. I don't know. To me, pivot is what I see like here with whips. A whip is a pivot. Same with whip curls. But there's 6 of them in here, so there's enough if you want to use some of those. And I've been told, I actually haven't practiced these, but I've been told they work really well in this game. 3 Salems, we got 2 shakes, only 1 shallow cross. Yeah, I don't think you'll need this much because you have so much mesh. But then you go over to slot cross. There are 6 of these. Slot cross, if you remember from our air raid playbook video, a lot of Y cross kind of sort of. That's kind of what you're getting here, especially with like slot cross right there on the left. There are only 10 smashes, pretty much your high-low reads of some sort. When I think smash, I think of hitch corners on the right. That's more of the classic look. But there's 10 of them in here. Then you got 4 spots. So the bulk of your medium passing game is going to come from mesh. Then go over the deep pass, comeback, 21 of these. So they treat comeback as anything that comes back, a curl, a hitch, or the deep comeback, which I'm a big fan of, as you see like in red zone scissors on the left and P.E. Reed on the right. Just a killer man beater. Let's go ahead and just pick one while we're at it. Let's go. Good man beater. Do I have any decent zone beaters? I kind of do. Let's see. We can go like right here. Can I do this? Come back right there. Just a nice little play. Again, good backside man beater. If that doesn't open, you can go to some of your zone concept or zone routes after that. But there are 21 of them in here. And thankfully, the bulk of these will have a comeback route for the most part. Now, here is P.A. Whip Mills. I don't see anything in there that spells or screams comeback, but they call it as one. But anyway, you still see a lot of comeback routes in here. I would definitely be using a lot of these because, again, the comeback route is so good. You got 5 daggers, 3 divides, 6 double posts, which is actually more than what I've seen so far. I'm not a big double post guy. I would crossers is not too bad, but a lot of times these double posts are so close to each other, you about have to hot rat like the inside one to something else just to give them a little more separation. You got 5 floods. You got 15 verticals. This is pretty common for most of these playbooks. You're going to find a lot of verticals and whatnot, but I am liking some other verticals that they're throwing out here. For example, Gun Trio Y Flex. I love having this little drag route underneath. It's just a little bit different instead of everybody going over the top or something. I may have went to him to the wrong guy. That's an interception, but we could try that again. Anyway, I just like having something underneath. If for whatever reason I can't get over the top, something like this. Can he make a touchdown? Oh, good try though. Either way, I like those oddball types of verticals, but there's a other mix of vertical concepts in here as well, as you can tell. So definitely include this in your playbook, in your game plan. You got 6 meals. Meals is pretty much a post route with like a dig or something else underneath it, like PA bubble Y over. You got your post on the right and a crosser underneath, PAD post. You got another post with a dig underneath that. It's kind of the same thing for the most part, but like PA read, I don't know why they call that meals. I don't know. Hey, but there's your comeback route. All right, Portland, there are 7 of these. Portland is sort of like meals, but it's the exact opposite. You got your like dig route on the other side. As you see right here, like PA whip meals, that's on that side. Either way, there's 7 of them. You may like them. Shallow cross, I would abuse that. Again, look, there's your mesh, there's your comeback route, and there is your Portland all mixed in. So you got 3 concepts mixed in that play alone. Really cool. Shot plays, these are more of your vertical stuff, but with a little play action included, like PA inverted veer. Play action, go over the top. You got cross X poco. It's kind of the same thing. You mix this in with your verticals and your run game. And there are only 3 wide crosses technically in the playbook. All right, let's go to play action. You only have 11, but that is not true, as we will see here in a minute. We'll go over to the play types and a lot more will open up. Screens. So they got plenty of screens. There's 15 bubbles and there's 12 flanker screens. However, we've already seen most of these. These are a lot of the RPOs we just looked at a little while ago. So your screen game is going to come from the bulk of it will come from your RPOs. Now, when it comes to your flanker screens, these are more of your classic stuff like fake screen wheel, jet PA flood, but there's still some RPOs in here. So again, RPOs will be the bulk of your screen game. Now let's go over to play types. Let's start off at pass. Let's go over to quick pass. We've already established there's not much quicks in here. I think the bulk of your quicks, honestly, will probably come from those jet sweeps. I know I mentioned you can do the RPOs as well, but just I know jet sweeps are kind of overpowered in this game, but they're still good. I would still use them. I mean, and there's enough in here to fool around with. Standard pass, technically 3, and I always find it funny. There's technically only 3 standard passes in this entire playbook. Either way, there's a bunch of shotgun passes as expected, but play action, 44 of them. This has to be a part of your offense. Now, we've already looked at a lot of these. They come from those other concepts, but you establish your run, you do your RPOs, you do your play action on top of that, and there are a ton of them in here. A lot of good stuff, to say the least. Screen pass, there's 9 of these. We've already kind of looked at them, and you got your Hail Mary, of course. Let's go to runs. Start off an inside handoff, 39 of those. The bulk of your run game, just basic runs, will come from here. But mix up your blocking, like do inside zone, do a little trap, do a little power G. This is probably my favorite part of this playbook. There's such a nice variety of run concepts in this. It's not just inside zone. A lot of it is pulling linemen, a lot of it's zone, a lot of it's outside zone, a lot of it's jet sweep, just a little bit of everything. Again, maybe that's why they call it multiple. All right, outside handoff, 12 of those, a little bit more than actually what I expected. Some of these usually are not included. Usually it's inside zone is most of the bulk of your run game, but there's plenty of outside handoff too if you need it. But then we got your pitch. Now they throw buck sweep as pitch. I never understood why they call that a pitch, as it's not. It is a handoff, but in this game, they threw it under the pitch category. You got 2 counters, you got 2 draws, you got 3 fullback runs, and you also need to include this right here. 6 QB runs. This is actually a high number compared to what I've seen so far. A lot of just designed QB runs, and yes, we got 48 million read option plays in this playbook. But if you want basic QB running, you have a little bit of it in here. So I would include that in your game plan as well. Let's go to option. Again, all of these are pretty much come from those read options we looked at on top of those speed options. But again, just like you want to mix with your basic run game, mix in your options with those pulling linemen, with the zone stuff. Again, just a cool variety of run concepts in this playbook. RPOs, we've already looked at these. It's kind of the same thing. 9 reads, you got 4 peaks, and all those alerts. Again, this is where you'd start on your RPO game right here. And that is it for your play types. The only thing I want to talk about before we head out is I want to focus on a couple of these formations, especially like we'll go over to like tackle over cluster. This is just a weird look group of plays. So you got buck sweep, you got RPO off of that, then you got a read option off of that, and then you got a sweep and a swing. So it's a lot of specialty things. You don't have a lot of basic passing concepts. Most of it's running with a little RPO on top of that. And then you go over to the next tackle over formation, which is basic tackle over. It's still more running, fake screens. There's sprint out smash is like the most basic drop back passing you're going to get out of it. But again, the bulk of it is basic running, whether it's read options, speed, inside zone, toss, whatever. And then you got tackle Y over or tackle over trips. It's kind of the same thing. A lot of it's just RPO and run base. And this is one of the reasons why you would pick this playbook is because of some of these formations right here, because this is the only playbook that has them. And I've said that a few times already, but let's go ahead. I want to pick something just to show you. I'm going to go back over to tackle over cluster. Let's pick this RPO real quick. So you got an interesting setup. So we have the best player in the game, of course, and Agbuka at triangle. So if he can like get open, oh, he got caught up on that stop right there. But either way, it's a really cool oddball play. If it doesn't get stuck right there, you can get up the field. So that's why you got 32 right there in the backfield instead of number 2. That's your wide receiver, I should say. Is Junkins, for some, they may have taken him out of the game in here. I don't see him in here unless he's in another formation. Either way, I thought that was odd. But anyway, just throw this in there along with your basic offense. But I wanted to point those out. And don't forget your pistol. You got one. I would throw in some under center stuff as well. Like whenever you stay in the gun a whole lot, then all of a sudden you sprinkle in some of this stuff right here. You can do play action off of it. Now, some of these run plays don't let you flip them. Like I'm trying to flip this run to the right. And some of them, they just don't let you do it. And I don't know why they do that. There's Judkins right there. Either way, throw that in there. I just wanted to point some of that stuff out. But the rest of the playbook is pretty normal. And then last but not least, I need to go and check out these box formations real quick. We'll go over to, if I can get to it, maybe it's over here. There we go, like box offset weak. You look at some of these, this is a lot of your more normal stuff. You just got that little twins look from those slot receivers. Let's see if we can get something going here. Oops, that may get, oh, good catch. Did he keep? Yep, he caught it, good deal. But it's got basic stuff in there as well. So let's just sum it up real quick. What do we have here? We got your inside zone. You got a little outside zone, but then you got a lot of your traps, your pulling stuff. Then you got your RPOs off of that. Then you got your RPO pullers off of that. Then you do your play action. Then you do your mesh. Then you do your verticals. And I mean, it just got a lot of really cool things in here. So if this is what you're looking for in terms of a wide variety of run concepts, of read options, things of that nature, this playbook is for you, and I think you'll enjoy it. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.